Welcome to Flower Farm Fridays. My name is Rafael, and this is the first episode of Flower Farm Fridays where I'm going to be bringing you through the garden, and I'm going to share all the highlights of what's happening as the seasons move. I'm going to be showing you some of the details of the plants, what we've added, what keeps coming back as perennials, and just show you the dance of beautiful seasons that the flowers have in the cool season and in the warm seasons. So check this out. We're going to start with this beautiful sweet pea row where we have them all planted on hog wire along the fence, and they have such an incredible scent about them. And also they have a really interesting way about climbing up the fence and pulling themselves up. You see these tendrils? They're so interesting. And usually when you get sweet pea bunches, you just get like this stick with no tendrils. And I think that adding the tendrils to your flower arrangements just adds like a whole other dimension, and it just makes it dreamier, more interesting, and you can sort of like spill your flowers and use them. So these are the sweet pea rows. We have them in different colors. It seems like every color has a different flavor. And so come and smell our sweet peas because they're sensational. I'm also standing here by these beautiful rows of bachelor buttons. And take a look at this detail here. This is like a little pineapple kind of looking thing. And then it's got this bloom. It's emerging. When it opens up, it's going to be more like this. And then we have this other bunch of beautiful light lilac ones that are happening here. And there's even a white one over here. So there's a nice variety of these bachelor buttons. Right here, we have the beautiful flower stages of this Nigella. So Nigella is also called Love in a Mist, and when the flower to me is just as beautiful as the pods. And right now we're fortunate that we have both stages in front of us. So you see, this is the flower. It looks almost like a little crown. See the water glistening from the morning dew. And then right next to it, we have these pods. So that goes from this flower to these beautiful seed pods. And these seed pods, once they're all done, we cut them at their peak, and they have these beautiful little candy stripes. We cut them and we dry them, and they make the dreamiest jewels. I call Nigella jewels in our dry floral arrangements because they're sensational. So here we are in the Sunset Lounge, and the backstory on the color theme for the farm is orange, and that's because our friends Gloria and Mike gave us this beautiful orange truck, and I decided that all the flowers and trees should have a nod to the orange theme. And so one of my favorite plants that's blooming right now is this GM. So you see how beautiful they are. They're very magical and orange. They have an awesome dance of color this time of year, and they flow all the way through here, through this Sunset Lounge. And around this Sunset Lounge here we have what we call Stonehenge. And the backstory to these pillars is that they are the foundation posts to the old original carriage barn. And so when we dug them out, I saw them on the floor and they were just in a pile, and I immediately had a flash that, oh wow, these are Stonehenge. And then 10 years later, when we built this garden back here out of repurposed materials, I put them in a circle, and then we just call it Stonehenge. And the other thing too is that a very cool background to our entire farm back here is that our overarching theme and ethos is that everything here is recycled, repurposed, and reused. And so as I share our farm, I'm going to point to the things and the aspects of the repurposing. But isn't this cool how these are old foundation posts that were pulled out of the ground when we built our event barn, and then rather than throwing them away, we made them garden art. And then there's this beautiful dance of like orange plants, like this aloe, the GM, and they're going through like a river of orange, dancing through all this. So here we are by this eastern redbud. It's just doing its tail end of blooming, and all these redbuds have been just showing off really beautifully lately. And behind it, we have several others. We have 3 standard ones, which is standard means 1 trunk, and then multi-trunks. There's 3 of those too. I like to zigzag trees also. So not only do I like to zigzag plants, but I like to zigzag the trees. Look at this beautiful fountain. We made it out of repurposed watering troughs. And so what you have is you have an elevated one that's on a table that holds it, and then the pumps all come from underneath, and then there's a whole filtration system, and this is part of what's going on here in our flower farm. This is what we call the kidney. When we poured concrete back here in what we call the Sunset Lounge, we had this very interesting tree that has a giant branch that comes all the way from over there and comes this way, and it leans on the floor, and then it crawls back up. And so I thought it was such a beautiful feature, and thought it would have been really sad if we took down this beautiful, unusual branch that just sort of like found its way, rested on the ground, and then pops up right here. Look at this dance of color. Here we have heuchera, and then we have Clivia. We have black mondo grass, which is mondo nigri, and then this is regular mondo. Everything here is a perennial, and then like when the sun hits these orange Clivia, they're just amazing. So there's just a gorgeous dance of colors. I just love this little thing because it almost looks like a painter's brush. The overarching theme and ethos to our farm is that everything here is recycled, repurposed, and reused. And so all of these walls and this fireplace are made out of broken concrete that we took out when we built the event barn on the other side. And so if you see it closer, you can see that this is just regular broken concrete. So when they break concrete in your neighborhood, you can make different things with it. So it's got a really great texture. You can like chip it into the shape that you want, and it's just got a great vibe. And you know, we can all spend money and buy materials that are new, but how cool to take old concrete from the other side of this property and make these fireplaces and these walls. And then, so here where I'm standing at, we call this area the Sunset Lounge. And it's because we see these magical sunsets every day. And right now there's awesome wheat growing just 360 degrees around us. So let me show you a little bit more of the Sunset Lounge. And right here in front of me is the tea house, and we're in the tea house lounge where we have this beautiful orange GM and this dance of this daffodils that are on their way out, and then all this beautiful Shasta daisies are waking up. Right behind me you have these calla lilies that are just amazing. Look at the size of these things. So all of these plants are planted around the perimeter, are in a hugel mound over trunks of trees and branches and leaves that are deteriorating. See them back there? And so as we weed and as we get rid of things, we just keep adding height, because this is essentially all deteriorating beneath it, and so we just keep adding to it. So it gives you a place to dispose of your garbage, and also you get to keep building your hugel mound, making compost, making awesome fertilizer for your garden, and also just an ability to just be sustainable in your ability to get rid of things and not having to haul or burn things. Look at this beautiful sunset. Every day the sunsets are different. The clouds, just all of it. And we're surrounded by this beautiful winter wheat. As the seasons turn, we're going to see it turn like different golden colors. So that'll be exciting to see. So it all started with this beautiful orange truck that our friends Mike and Gloria gave us. And then all the plants around have been planted are in shades of orange or apricot. And earlier this season, all the narcissus that were the first wave are all like a double ruffle apricot. And now we have these other narcissus planted amongst these roses. So this is another example of zigzag gardening, so that when you don't have flowers and your roses are completely reseeded, that you you have color still in your garden. And these guys have an amazing fragrance to them. They're so nice. This entire fence of hog wire has Lady of Shallot, and there's so many buds on it. And as soon as it pops, they're going to be amazing. They look like orange peonies. They've got a lot of body to them. And look at this color. Isn't that just amazing? So this is going to be one of the last flowers I show you today, and we have a beautiful apricot iris. They're just gorgeous. And you got the sweet peas crawling along the fence. And while I have the opportunity to introduce everyone, we have a fun cat named Susan. And she's way over there in this row. And we named her Black-Eyed Susan because she hangs out by the black-eyed Rudbeckia flower row. And also she's black, and she thinks she owns this flower farm. It's so funny. And so every day around this time, she's over there and she's marching back and forth, and the other cats that try to come into the flower farm, she chases them off. And I've watched this with my own eyes. So I think it's very funny and interesting that Susan thinks she owns the flower farm. And so I thought it'd be appropriate to introduce you to her, since this is our first Flower Farm Friday. It's been fun showing you what's growing on our farm this week. And this week we collected these beautiful sweet peas, which we'll have in our store. And we're going to have them in these repurposed bottles, because our overarching theme is recycle, repurpose, reuse. And if you have some old bottles that you want to bring to us, we'll wash them and we'll fill them with flowers, and you'll find them in our grab and go bags. And also I'm just going to be bringing you updates every Friday on what's happening on the farm and on the property, and telling you what we've got going on. And I just want to thank everyone for listening today. And I hope that you're having fun doing something creative and also playing in your garden. Have a great day.